Welcome to Book Club no Kiseki. I am Sam Allman.
I'm David Bernard Hauk.
I'm also David Bernard Hauk.
And the segment of Falcom's Kiseki series that we'll be playing this week is Chapter 7?
Yes, Chapter 7.
Chapter 7 of The Legend of Heroes, Trails in the Sky, second chapter. But before we get to all of that, how's it going?
Well, it's been a month, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has.
Let me tell you, it's been a wild month for me because I did a job search. I got a job. I finished my first week at the job, and now I'm in my second week, and it's just been wild. There is so much to learn. So far, I'm really liking the job. I think it's going to be a good job. And yeah, I've just been so freaking busy, and now I'm hoping things will be less busy, and I will settle into my new routine and be able to actually play games on time for this podcast. And maybe someday I'll actually have time to play Shin Megami Tensei 5.
Yeah, maybe. Who knows?
Someday we'll do it for the podcast.
Yeah, just keep putting it off long enough until it's time. I've done that with several games where, like, I've decided, okay, we're not going to play this on the podcast, so I'm going to start it way back in, like, season 1. And then I'm like, well, you know, I never got around to actually playing it, so might as well play it again right now for the podcast.
I gotta play Shin Megami Tensei 5 this year, though, so I can tell everyone it's Game of the Year this year.
True. It's true. I am trying to beat Halo 4 and Halo 5 in the next 2 weeks, and I really don't see that happening, but I want to do it because I want to play Halo on launch day, and I want to get a Mountain Dew Game Fuel that's not even called Game Fuel anymore because they use the name for those really god-awful energy drinks. So it's literally just called Dew with cherry citrus flavor, and it's stupid. Like, I don't get it, but
in our hearts.
It will always be Game Fuel in our hearts. So I want to have the Halo 3 Mountain Dew while I play Halo 6.
You should go on eBay and see if you can find a legitimate Halo 3 Mountain Dew still sealed.
They have them, and they're like going for like $75, but most of them are reaching critical mass of the carbon dioxide pressure can't keep it contained forever, and so it's slowly over time will like start to bust out the cans and stuff like that. So there's a lot of people who collect them. They like this week were like, yeah, for my own safety, I need to pour one out for the homies, and emptied all of their cans. But anywho, what about you, Matt? What has your month been like?
Well, I don't think I mentioned it last time. I got promoted at work. I'm now the assistant store leader. It's the exact same job, but I get paid more money.
Always good.
And I get... Oh, no, I did talk about that. I did. Never mind. So I've been doing that. I gazed long into the abyss, and it gazed back, so I bought a bunch of games.
Nice.
Oh, man. I'm gonna have to actually bust out my Switch. It was a bunch of them. Yoko Taro's new card battling RPG.
Nice.
It's real good. I picked up Astria Ascending. It sure is a game.
That's that JRPG made by Canadians, but there are one or two Japanese guys involved, right?
That sounds right.
Okay.
I think so.
I picked up the new Pokemons.
Yeah, I didn't for the first time since Heart Gold Soul Silver. I got Heart Gold Soul Silver on release day and every game since. on release day. And I didn't get this one only because me and Summer decided to save the money and get so we're going to buy it on the 1st is the end of that sentence, but so we wanted to save the money to get Rainbow High dolls for Scarlet for Christmas, because we were just going to buy her like 1 or 2, but the Black Friday deal at Walmart is the big ass collection of like all 6 for $60, which is like half off of what they normally are. And so it's a freakishly good deal because it's not worth $120, but like $60 being her big ticket Christmas item, like that works. And so to make the math a little more comfy, we're like, Summer was like, oh, well, I won't get mine so that you can do it. I'm like, well, I was super excited to play through it because it'll be Summer's first, like, officially first Pokemon game, because she played the Roblox clone Lumions and she loved it. So then she started a Sun and Moon save, but just was like futzing around on it. But this would be her first like Pokemon experience of like playing with other people and trading and battling and all that stuff. So so I was like, oh, I don't want to leave you in the dust, because it's a Pokemon game. I will have beaten the Elite Four in 2 weeks. That's how it works. So I am waiting to get it on the 1st, and it feels weird not getting all of the Pokemon memes that are going around Twitter and stuff for all of the funny glitches and stuff like that.
So I originally wasn't going to get it right away for similar reasons. It's like, I'm going to be busy the next 2 weeks. Anyway, what with Black Friday and such, I'll just wait. It'll be fine. But then we had somebody cancel on the double pack. I was like, okay, so that means we'll have 1 extra double pack. And then I found out I had to work the release for Battlefield 2042 and Pokemon anyway. And I said, well, screw it. I'll just get it. It'll be fine.
Yeah. Treat yourself.
Yeah. Which, you know what? The pre-release, not that bad. Everyone was pretty orderly.
Nice.
What was the last one? There was 2 more. Monster Crown, which is a great Pokemon clone.
Never heard of it.
Farming.
I've seen a trailer for it.
Yeah, I was talking about it in the... Oh, there was 2 more. Because the 2 more are the weird ones. Hot Wheels Unleashed.
I really want to play Hot Wheels Unleashed. It looks like the best racing game since Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transformed.
It is a ton of fun. Because the cars don't matter, and it's got loot boxes, but, like, because the cars don't matter, it's just like, well, okay, now I have a car that looks like a toaster. I'll drive that for a few races. Let's go. And it's got a nice little campaign mode, and all the tracks are like silly, you know, the old orange strips with the booster stuff. And like, if you don't boost through going upside down, you'll fall off the track. It's a good time. And Farming Simulator 2022. Because I'm from Wisconsin. You can't not. It's in the welcome package. It actually looks very good.
Mm-hmm.
I've never played a non-anime farming simulator.
This one, like the farming simulator games are the driving around part from Stone Runner and the number crunching from the anime farming simulator games.
Okay.
So, like, they're fine. It's, you know, it's not super weeby, but also then I don't have to pay $90,000 to drive a giant tractor around. So that's good.
Yeah.
Sam, you talking about Christmas presents and buying dolls together reminded me. I have a friend who really likes plushes and is into like great children's literature, like Moomin and Frog and Toad. And I saw these really great Frog and Toad plushes on online, and I was like, "Oh, awesome! I'll get those." And I was purchasing them, and then I noticed you can order them separately, and I'm like, "Who the fuck would separate them?
What
You can't
the
do
fuck?
that. You cannot order Frog without Toad or Toad without Frog."
Oh, but think about it. Like, if you're really good friends with somebody and you know that you're the frog and you know that they're the toad, you send them one of each, and it's you send one to you and one to them, and it's cute.
That's true.
True enough.
I hadn't thought of that use case.
But also speaking of Christmas presents and stuff like that, I spent like over $300 on Christmas presents for my kids, and I've never ever received $300 worth of Christmas presents, and I could do that comfortably now. And this is a part of one of my recurring segments of like, I'm finally in the middle class and not in poverty wages, and it feels weird, and I don't understand what normal people do with surplus income every month. I don't. Like, once we get past the new year and everybody's birthday is over and I've paid off all my credit cards, what do you do with the normal people amount of money?
Invest in Bitcoin.
Oh, okay, yeah, sure.
Or you golf, or some people develop a drinking problem. You could get really into miniatures.
Yeah.
That'll take up any surplus income you're worried about.
Yeah. Like,
let me tell you about BattleTech, Sam.
I was talking with Summer because T-Mobile gave everybody Paramount Plus, but they gave us commercials Paramount Plus, and if you upgrade, it cancels you don't pay the difference. It cancels
that shit.
Your thing, so then you have to pay full price. And so I was complaining to Summer because Paramount Plus didn't get the memo of the people versus Hulu or whatever, that your commercials in your show need to be the same fucking volume. And so every time it jumps to a commercial, it's freakishly loud, and it drives home the fact that we have a inferior product. And so I was like, after like 2022, I'll cancel and buy us the good one so that you can watch Bold and the Beautiful without these horrible ads. And she was like, "Oh, but like, is that okay? Like, can we?" I was like, "Summer, it is $10 a month. I have like $61 in video game subscriptions I'm not even fucking using. Like, it's no big deal." And that's such a weird thing because I've lived in the world of I can't have avocado toast because I have to save money for rent or whatever. And now it's like, fuck it, who cares? We'll just add in another subscription service, and it's great
for everybody.
I highly recommend raising the minimum wage to $25 an hour so everyone can feel this good, because it's not even a lot at all. But I am supporting my whole family and have money left over at $25 an hour.
My new job is really weird for me because I have a salary. I'm not being paid hourly.
Weird.
It's so weird. Like today, this never happens to me, but I suddenly got a really horrible headache that lasted for a few hours. So I asked my boss if I could take the rest of the day off, and there wasn't much I could do that wasn't that I was trained on left anyway. So I asked if I could take the rest of the day off, and she said sure. And I didn't have to do a bunch of weird shit so that my hours would be tracked properly and stuff. It was just like you're on a salary.
You just come to work.
It was so weird. Like I'm not having to clock in. I'm just having to show up to the meeting at the beginning of the shift. It's so weird.
I got a booklet about retirement plans in the mail yesterday.
Ah.
Not a pamphlet, a booklet, and it had my name printed on it. Not like sticky noted on it or whatever. It's like, is this what being an adult? Is this what like making money feels like?
It's
Because
wild.
this is boring, but the money part's cool.
Yeah, it's like, oh, cool. They sent me more garbage for me to throw away, but I got food on the way home and I didn't feel guilty. So it's great.
Yeah, like last week I caught myself for the first time, like, because usually when I buy a game, I'll be like, okay, let's go to the ATM, let's see how much we got. I'm like, I was just like, fuck it, I just want to buy this game, so I'm going to. I know I can afford it.
Yeah, it's nuts. I love this for us. We're all grown ups here. It's great. But other than that, I have no idea what I've even done in the last month. It doesn't feel like a month has gone by since we last recorded, but it has been, and
It feels like a lifetime has gone by since we last recorded for me.
it feels like Halloween was like a week ago. But the reason that that's the case is I'm up here in the north now, so it's cold outside, much like your refrigerator is cold. So our Halloween pumpkins, we left them out there because the rabbits were nibbling on them. We thought that was really cute. But like, they're not a fetid, rotten mess like they would be the next day in Texas because it's cold outside. So they're preserved. And it's weird, but because we still have Halloween decorations outside, it feels like Halloween was yesterday, and it was definitely not.
It was like 68 degrees here today in the greater Austin area. It was amazing.
It was 19 here.
While at the beginning of our recording, actually, the person who is drawing the art for the visual novel I'm working on sent me a new background that they did, and they were like, here's the winter background. I was like, it looks great. It needs to have some fallen leaves. And they were like, in winter there would still be fallen leaves? And I had to explain to them how seasons in Texas work because this takes place in Texas.
Yeah. It's seasons are weird, and like, I had heard the joke always about how Texas only had 2 seasons, but like, Texas only has 2 seasons, and having 2 new seasons to deal with is weird, and I don't necessarily like it. I mean, I love it, but it's like what do normal people do from like September to December when it's like cold and rainy and all the trees are pretty? Like, I'm used to, like, me and Summer had a beach wedding on October 3rd. And like, what the fuck? You can't do that here.
Yeah, in Texas, you just you have summer clothing, and then you have serious winter clothing for when serious winter randomly happens.
Yeah,
like just any time from December through February, serious winter happens at random. You don't know when in those months it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Speaking of serious winter, I have one more thing to add.
Okay.
I ordered tank Christmas sweaters.
Nice.
I love this for you.
Because God, what's it called? The Bovington Tank Museum in Europe. Completely self-sustained. Usually I buy their, like, as a just donate them some money. I buy their year-long pass. Well, they don't have one because they closed their doors because of COVID, which is cool. So I bought Christmas sweaters instead. Selfies to follow.
Love it. It reminds me that I need to put that Digimon Christmas sweater on my wish list. So Summer will get it for me for Christmas.
Yeah.
Also, sound off in the comments if you know how my wife is supposed to buy me Christmas presents when we're a single income household. Like, I haven't figured out how that's supposed to work yet, and we're coming up in 7 days. Have to figure that out. So, let me know how that's supposed to work. Like, our only idea is she'll tell her best friend Deanne to like buy it on Amazon and then Cash App the money, so I'll know how much money she spent on me, but not what it is, because as of right now, I have all of the credit card receipts and the Amazon account, and I get emails for every purchase. So it's kind of hard to have surprises there. So, but yeah, let's talk about this game now. So, let's listen to some of the music. I think that we had new music in the Technicolor Dreamscape, so we'll probably listen to that and talk about the plot. Matt, take it away.
Okay, so because it's been a month and my notes are just kind of flowing last notes into this week's, we last left our intrepid heroes having a very cute moment on a beach.
Mm-hmm.
Joshua and Estelle. It's ruined in a 90s sitcom fashion. And then it transports us back to Gransel Castle. Joshua's given the details of what he learned aboard the Glorious to... Oh God, I never remember the general's name, and I just write the general like an idiot. General Morgan. There it is.
Did you skip the cold open again?
Probably. I've done
Yes,
it
you did.
every week. I've done it every week so far.
So the cold open is we're on top of Ismelis Tower, and you see Beaublanc reporting in, and then it cuts to Carnelia Tower, and Walter reports in, Saffrel Tower, Luciola reports in, and Ambrose Tower, where Ren reports in, and then we see Weissman up on one of their little red ships. It's not the Glorious, but the other one, and he does some magic-y shit and calls forth the Areola, which apparently is a giant ass, looks like the Starforge from... Oh, we don't see what it looks like here, actually. He does some magic-y shit, and it gets big and bright and magic-y, and then they, like Team Rocket, finish each other's sentences to say that we, the enforcers of Ouroboros, by order of an Anguisse, we shall now liberate you of your shackles. And that's the cold open. So now we're in Gransel Castle, and
like most scenes in this chapter, a lot is said and not much happens.
Yeah.
Yep. And that's pretty much what's going on in the Gransel Castle. Joshua and Estelle are giving a description of, well, Joshua is filling in General Morgan and the Queen on what he learned aboard the Glorious.
And the queen, after he's done telling everything to the queen pardons him for all of the murders.
He gets a pardon because he did a good thing, and also she feels bad about what happened in Hamel. We find out here that she actually knew about what happened, but had to keep quiet in order to maintain diplomacy, and he's like, "No, that's cool. That's probably smarter."
I will take that pardon, though.
I will take that part. Listen, I'm not made of money.
You don't have to feel bad, but I will take that part.
There we
then
go.
The whole party runs in to welcome Joshua back to the JRPG party.
Yep.
And
Joshua meets Kevin for the first time.
Yeah.
Which is weird because they immediately go off and talk about mysterious things.
There's a cute little bit where Kevin is like ribbing Joshua in the elbows, being like, yeah, you better keep your girlfriend close, or someone else is going to swoop in and take her. And so I was like, what are you talking about? And they're like, nothing. It's cute.
It was funny to me because I feel like usually in anime things of this flavor, I'm just so used to the person being like, they're not my girlfriend, or they're not my boyfriend. But Joshua's just like, yeah, okay.
Cool, thanks.
It's also pretty great that, like, usually it's the boy who's the one who is like, oh, what's going on? And instead in this case, it's Estelle. I think that's a nice little change of pace. Cassius arrives, and they have a nice little reunion with Joshua also. No, I accidentally closed my notes. No.
Cassius does slap Joshua because people do like to slap each other in these games.
They really do.
I'm just gonna go proceed with the headcanon that like in the Trails games, the slap is actually a hug. You should.
What do they hug after? What is a hug?
A hug is like a super hug. You know, like when you bear hug somebody and you pick them up off the ground.
I see.
Everything seems to be going great until
everything changes when the Fire Nation attacks.
Yeah. Yeah. The smash cut to the Fire Nation. Saying, and I took that personally. Captain Schwartz rushes in. He's like, Your Majesty, everyone else who's here. There's a bunch of things around all the major cities. We think they're anachronisms. They are. But we're not sure. But they are.
Yeah. It's so weird that the world building of this world being like Industrial Revolution, and yet they also have computers and also all this other stuff, but they don't have a word for robot. So when Julia runs in, she's like, yeah, there's all these creatures with like metal armor. What the heck is that? And all of our guys are like, oh, it's the robots. Let's go fight the robots. And there are no words for it, where it's like same with later Ren's mech. Everyone's like, oh, it's her giant like orbital puppet. And it's like, it's a robot. It's just a robot.
It reminds me a whole lot of like, it reminds me a whole lot of like Fallout, where they have robots, but there's no microchips. So like, how does any of this work without microchips? Vacuum tubes, don't worry about it. But radiation, just keep going.
Yeah.
You jumped way ahead of my notes. 1 sec. There's a lot of talking about Here we go. We all decide to, and by we, I mean the party, plus the queen tells us, hey, you should probably do this. She lets us use the Arcele, her personal airship, to go and deal with yonder robots. Excuse me, this is Trails, anachronisms. And even, which is also a weird time for Cassius to just say, or not Cassius, Oliver to say, I'm out.
Yeah,
I gotta go home. My mom said so.
Yeah, it was very weird to me that he didn't join, and maybe it's just you only have room for 6 party members or whatever, and they're like, well, we added one smooth talking ladies man with a gun, so we're just going to get rid of the other smooth talking everybody's man with a gun.
But he's up to something, because when he leaves the dock as they're boarding, he meets up with, what's his name? His friend from Erebonia, who is always frustrated with his antics.
I feel it's like Marshall or something, but
anyway, meets with him, and they say some mysterious things, as Trails characters are wont to do. And then he says, then he thinks something like, so when next we meet, we'll be enemies or something.
Yeah.
And you're left wondering, what the fuck?
What the fuck?
So, I know what the fuck.
Shut up. We
So I
don't.
won't say it.
Stop saying these words.
It has nothing to do with the main story of later games.
Just say interesting and move on.
That's interesting. I'm going to say it in exactly that tone from now on. Aboard the ship is Tita's grandpa. There's lots of happiness going around there. We decide which one to go to first.
And by we decide, it happens in a cutscene. You have to do them in the same order.
It happens in a cutscene. When I say we, I am talking about the party because they are my friends, and I am part of them.
Yes.
You, the player, have no control. But first off, we're off to Esmelis Tower. We get cool. There's a great scene where oh god, I can't remember the names because I just write down the reporting couple.
Niall and
Niall and
Dorothy
get left behind and wait, no, we want to catch up. It's very 90s anime. It's great.
I love them.
They're probably the best comic relief characters in a JRPG that I've played in a very, very long time.
I think they are the best, but they are not my favorite in this game. That's got to go to the Capwas.
The Capwas are pretty great.
So we do know that because of the reports we've gotten, we do know that the enforcer at this tower, at Esmelis Tower, is Blue Blanc.
Yeah, basically there's a big ass globe of swirly dark energy shit around the tower. And it has the orbital cancellation phenomenon or whatever the fuck they called it. So they can't send any airships in. So they sent ground forces, and they got their ass kicked by some dude in a white mask. So we're like, oh, it's Boo Blanc. We're going to go in there and we're going to kick his teeth in and hopefully save the day.
Yep. So we end up getting there. We at this juncture decide who's going in with us, and we have an opportunity to, despite the pressing nature of what's going on,
we're on an airship, therefore we have a scene where we walk around and talk to our friends on an airship.
exactly. There's no way around it.
Estelle doesn't know how to ride an airship without going around and talking to all of our friends.
I am at this point convinced that airships are powered by the power of friendship. It's just like even bad guys have friends. It's just you have to have the communication or they fall right out of the sky.
So, who did y'all choose to come with you for this first tower?
I had Kevin and Chloe, I believe.
Agate is the protagonist of this game, and Tita is his sidekick, and we're just along for the ride. So it was Agate and Tita.
I was about to say, oh, but you need a healer, because I always forget that Tita has health bullets. Because why not?
So I was frustrated because I knew each of these towers were seeing an enforcer, and each enforcer has a thing with one of our party members. So I'll take the appropriate party member. And then Blue Blanc, of course, we fought him years ago in real life. So I was just like, well, I remember he had a thing with Olivier, but Olivier's not here anymore, so I'll just take Zin for the boss. He was like, oh man, it's a shame I would have had special dialogue for that. I'm like, fuck you. I forgot you had a thing with Chloe.
I completely forgot that it didn't make the register in my brain that there might be special dialogue. So
it's a Nihon Falcon game. There's gonna be special dialogue.
Especially this second game. The first game, like, you couldn't change your party, so you didn't have like variations on the different scenes except for in the final dungeon. But this game is just like the first half of the game had variations because you could choose your starting whole story, which is nuts.
Yeah. Based on the quality of my notes, I probably did this at 3 a.m. I'm lucky I actually successfully brought 4 party members.
Proud of you.
Sometimes you just can't sleep. Anyway, so we do all of the walkie-walkies and the talkie-talkies around the airship. We land. Now, there's a spooky door.
Mm-hmm. Like a big swirly purple magic-y barrier thing for the door of the tower.
Yep. And we can just... like, it's not even like a proper door. We can just walk through it. Mm-hmm. I'm presuming that all the soldiers are like, we're not protagonists. We're not going through the spooky door.
But we go in all right at the bottom to beat them up on the ground without them going into the thing, because they definitely didn't warn us that on the other side of the door was a Technicolor JRPG Dreamscape.
Yeah, this thing was so weird. I loved it, but it was weird.
I loved all 4 of these dungeons. Well, the one that was a straight line I loved because it was a welcome relief from the crazy dungeoneering I'd been doing.
Yeah. These dungeons like wrap in on each other so much, and you don't have a map, and They do an annoying thing that if you ever get caught by it, it gets super frustrating to find where you are. Where when you teleport to the next area, it rotates the camera 180 degrees. So if during the cutscene you're like, oh, I need to move to the lower right, and so you hold that down, the camera will spin on you, and on your first frame you'll walk back into the teleporter to go to the other side, and you're like, well, now I completely lost the thread of like where I was going, and so I'm just gonna hope for the best and keep making your way through.
I had to use a guide for all of these because as much as I love them, my spatial awareness isn't great. And several hours into the first one, I realized I had been going in circles.
Dang.
Probably also due to the aforementioned tiredness, but also
They're big.
They confusing.
As long as you didn't get lost in the one that is literally a straight line.
No, it was this one. I did not make it that far. So anyways, we pop in. We're like, whoa, man, we got transported to a different place. Kevin seems to know what's going on, so we're safe.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a note fill in because I just did. We did the towers.
So everybody's like, oh, what the hell is this? And we're like, this must be the true form of the tower, whatever the fuck that means. And so we just push through to try and find our way to the top. And along the way, we find these weird pyramid-shaped computers, which I guess a pyramid-shaped computer makes more sense than a Seath stone-shaped computer. So the weird computers that I've had to deal with in the past couple of weeks, these are okay. And the computers all like basically are saying the whole like what the bad guys are up to, but all the information has been redacted. And so you go around collecting things from all of the computers for the rest of the week to try and piece together what's going on. And so I'm following along on the LP archive, and the if you've never done a read a screenshot let's play from the LP archive, they're great, but normally when the author is adding in their own commentary, they'll do a little like italics underneath the picture, and the picture for when they find the computer is a Unix system. I know this. Which tickled me all the way pink, and I had to bring it up because I was going to forget.
That's great. I do want to also special shout out. The enemies here are really cool.
Yeah.
I'm also now following it because my notes are a jumble mess. Anyway, we eventually make it to what I assume is the top to fight the worst Phantom Thief. There's Blue Blanc stuff. I hate him. I hate everything about him.
I do hate him, but because I hate him, I love him.
I just hate him.
There are moments where I'm like, wow, the fact that I feel actual hate for this character means he's a really well written villain. But usually I'm in Bernard's camp. I just hate him.
Yeah.
He calls down some mobile suits, and we fight him. I don't remember having a difficult time with this fight, but as you'll remember...
I got my ass kicked in this fight.
I didn't find it too hard.
I got my ass kicked because I realized the thing way too late. And so... I followed the tried and true. If you're fighting a boss and the boss summons mobs, you kill the mobs so you can focus on the boss. but Boublanc's whole spiel is he clones himself, and his clones can clone himself, and those clones can clone themselves, and all of them can summon replacement mechs. So you ignore the mechs and you fight Boublanc until he goes down, and then you take out the mechs. But I realized this way too late, and I got my ass handed to me pretty handily before my second try when I went back, and I did good.
So I still haven't quite figured out what it is about my agate and like to a degree my Tita, but they're just, I don't even need Estelle and Joshua most of the time. They just kind of, agate just kind of wades in there and he's like, "Hi, I'm here. Deal with me or you have a problem." And usually they can't.
Yeah, I did a lot of trying to figure out how like Quartz and Sepith and everything work this week. I still kind of just try to make number go up for Quartz, but I did figure out how Sepith works, and so I have a fairly strong physical attacker in Estelle, a very strong physical attacker in Joshua. I have the mage to end all mages of Chloe, and then a rotating party member. I used Shara for the last two, Kevin for the first one, and then I had to use Zen for the second one. But because I was digging in and rejiggering how everything worked, I didn't ever really have a very like hard time with everything. I kill everything pretty fast, but I did have to figure that out, and that happened after Boublanc kicked my ass real hard.
Fair enough. So anyway, we beat up the war boss robot, and Blue Blanc says, "I'll get you next time," and poofs away.
Yeah, I don't remember him having any like dramatic revelations or anything.
No, he's just he's literally
just a motherfucker.
Yeah, literally it says, "Seems my role has come to an end for now. Nothing for it then. I suppose I shall withdraw." And that's it.
Yeah, I think his purposefully doesn't have a whole lot going on because he gets a fairly lengthy follow-up scene, whereas everybody else, their big scene happens at the tower. And his does not.
Yeah. So anyways, we get the thing he's testing out.
Oh, at the end of this boss fight and at the end of all the others, they're just like talking for a bit, and then the aura around the top of the tower breaks and goes away, and like the thing they've placed on the tower deactivates.
Yeah, and that's the thing that makes them leave every time, because we're kind of in a stalemate. It's one of those things where you win the boss fight, but in the cutscene, no one's winning, but then the aura goes away, and they're like, "Well, that's my cue. Peace out, bitches," and they leave.
Yep. So anyways, we turn around, head back to the ship, talk to Professor Russell, and we're like, "Hey, we found this thing. You can have it. Also, we found the weird data e-crystal things in the tower." And he's like, "This is a memory crystal." And we're like, "No shit." And we get a brief rundown on what a memory crystal is.
It's a CD-ROM, a crystal doohickey random orbital malarkey.
It's just it's a USB. It's a flash drive.
Shout outs to Really Pants on the Let's Play Archive. Your jokes are really good, sir. This is a fun read.
That's why I keep getting distracted. Is like I get stuck on the jokes. I'm like, wait a minute, I'm recording a podcast. I can't be doing this right now. Anyway, the captain shows back up and he's like, "Hey, we just got update from the scout squad. Time to go to Cornelia Tower." And we're like, "There's a guy in a black suit, terrible face." We're like, "Hey, we know that guy. He's Direwolf."
He does have a terrible face.
Walter, I forgot his name was Walter. Walter the Direwolf.
Yeah. They're like, hey, there's a guy cosplaying Clint from Star Ocean 3, so gotta go stop him.
And everyone's like, oh, we totally know what a specific character from Star Ocean 3 looks like.
Yeah.
That common touch point.
Yeah, it's true. Everyone knows this, and you should trust me that if you don't know it, you're the wrong one.
Well, I know it. And Sam knows it.
It's a good joke if you know it.
I was gonna say a guy cosplaying all of the Turks at once, but and Zane's like, all right, it's time for me to dance. And we're like, you're big and strong. We aren't gonna say no.
Apparently I'm stupid and his name is Cliff, not Clint, but whatever.
Then we get a smash cut to the trap planes of really terribly positioned artillery. Just, frankly, guys, come on. They're somehow firing lasers and rockets at these robots. I have questions about the ballistic system they're using. We're like, hey, we got them. We're going to charge in and get the rest of them. Then it shifts over to Kilika, which is
foreshadowing.
Foreshadowing. And it confused me for a second. I'm like, wait a minute. She's not here. What's going on? And then I remembered, oh yeah, it's that guy. It's Walter. Anyway, she's coordinating the thing. She gets the phone call of like, hey, this is what's up. She's like, cool. She obviously knows what's going on. We have to take Zane this time. I was furious.
Yeah, I haven't been using Zen the whole game. He was level 52. Everyone else was level 76. So this is where I was like, well, since I'm going to be grinding to bring this guy back up to speed, I might as well figure out how the game works.
I just brought Tita. I figured, well, I can deal with a dead guy in my party. We have some more, like, we're on an airship. It's got to be powered by friendship. We do get an update saying, hey, we can actually make your orbaments better.
Yeah, I actually really liked this part, like, emergent storytelling wise, because when you're making your way through the dungeon, you come across this big ass fancy chest and you open it and it's like, you found the wind gem, and I'm like, what the hell is that? And it has the little quartz symbol next to it. I'm like, this is dope. And you go to it and it's a level 3 quartz. And you only have, like, the UI only has room for 2 levels of quartz. Like, it never once in my entire playing through the game did I ever think you would then get a 3rd level of quartz. And so finding that first, then you get back and Professor Russell is like, oh, level 3 quartzes. Well, let me fix up your orbment so that you can now use level 3 quartzes. I just thought that was really fucking cool the way they did that.
Yeah, that is interesting. I must have missed that entirely, but also anyway.
What else is new?
Yep. Never mind. So we get the level 3 upgrades. I did nothing with them at this point. More of that to follow.
Yeah, I dug super into it because Zen, because I hadn't used him, he only had level 1 slots. So I couldn't even like take the things that had made Kevin good to then make Zen good. It did not work. So I had to dig in and figure out how Sepith grinding works. And the way Sepith is given to you is each monster drops a couple when they die. That's normal. But the Sepith bonus is how many times they drop their loot every time they get hit on that turn. So if you can line up the spell Aerial, which is a cheap spell that locks them in a hurricane and hits for 12 hits, if you can time that to land on a Sepith turn, you're going to get like a shitload of Sepith, and it owns. And that then became a super fun way to grind because I can hold down circle and X at the same time and blast my way through basically every battle at this point. So the switch up of that, of being like, oh, well, instead of just trying to win as fast as possible and ignoring it while I'm doing something else, I'm going to, like, I used move a lot or to like just end my turn until I saw a Sepith bonus come up, and then I tried to time to get my Sepith bonus with something that did a lot of hits on a lot of different monsters, and it was fun times.
Okay, so this is an interesting thing that spoils nothing. But because I played more of these games, that's I apologize because I didn't realize that wasn't something like you had caught on to, or I would have mentioned it sooner. But like it's at this point, I'm kind of doing that all the time. Just like, okay, this one's really easy to get. Okay, that one's going to be really, really hard to get. I don't want to deal with it.
Yeah, I did not realize that at all. And I have been broke Sepith-wise since approximately the prologue of first chapter. I've never been able to afford the things that I wanted to afford. I'd like go in to the thing and maybe get one slot open, but I never bought quartz because I needed to save it to open my slots so that I could have more magic. And that's been it the whole time. If I would have known, I would have done that, because I thought it was like the item, because the item is if you kill a monster on the item turn, you get their rare drop. I figured the Sepith was the same thing. It's like, oh, if you kill the monster that turn, you get extra, but that's not how it works at all.
Yeah.
In the future games, spoilery, can you dismantle quartzes into Sepith, or are you just trying to get Sepith bonuses for the rest of the series?
So in the future games, they just become a regular drop. They're also like they're in there with like gold and food as a side quest reward, like huge amounts of them. So like you could just run around pretty much any area and just grind for Sepith. Like that's
okay.
When you stop getting XP, that's the only thing that's worth grinding for in an area.
Okay.
I mean, it stays a relatively small amount. Like it's relative to the area, but
yeah, the only time I tried to Sepith grind in first chapter, I gave up right away because I needed green or something, and there was only one monster that did green, and it only dropped like 5. So I would be running out there to find that particular mob, fight it, run to a load zone, come back, fight it, and was only getting 5 each time because I didn't know to try and get the Sepith bonus and just hit it a bunch. But
yeah, the big difference is like instead of 5, you'd get like 50, and the Sepith bonus is like an extra 100.
yeah,
That's
good.
It rebalances a little bit better and a little bit easier. It also like makes it a lot clearer at the beginning that, hey, this is a thing you want to do.
Yeah.
Because I already knew it, I must have just breezed past in the tutorial. I'm like, yeah. You're going to tell me to do this thing all the time. But anyway, we're on to the second tower. So I took Zane and Tita. So this is another thing that would be an interesting difference is like, even though I'm not leveling my characters, I'm still making them their quartz upgrades as necessary and unlocking their slots because who doesn't love unlocking slots in video games? So like he was kind of kitted out, but he's still my Zen still died a lot, like a lot. By the end, he was staying alive. But the flip side to that is, oh yeah, hey, I forgot how good Estelle and Joshua are. So I ended up making it through this dungeon.
Yeah, I think my favorite part about Joshua joining the party at like level 75 is he also joins the party completely kitted out with level 4 quartz in every single slot, and so I did not have to do anything to make him a super badass.
Yep. And he pretty much carried me through this whole dungeon, which is, as we get to the next tower, it's the similar style Technicolor Dreamscape as the previous one, but it's brown or red. This is one of those color things that I needed verification on.
It's a reddish, orangish brown. It's like the floor is brown, the walkways are red.
Okay, but the pillars and like the
it's the fire dungeon of the week.
Okay, yeah. That's a good way to describe it. Thank you, Sam. This has been Matt Struggles with Colors. We find more like USB drives with corrupted data. Oh, there we go. And here it is, Walter himself.
Bum, bum, bum.
Bum, bum, bum. Joshua and Walter has some words. Because Joshua he's got to have words with all of them.
Yeah, all of these people are Joshua's friends, and Joshua has to personally tell each of them, fuck you.
Yeah. Then we get attacked by Metal Gears. Or at least the robot dog drone things from Metal Gear 4.
Metal Gear.
Metal Gear?
Indeed.
This fight was stupid.
Yeah, this one I think was pretty hard as well. I think I might have died on it and had to try it again. But it's just the dogs hit real hard. But much like before, if you don't do the dogs, you just beat up the guy. No, this one I think is backwards. I think I had tried to do it that way where I ignored the dogs, but the dogs beat the shit out of me before I could take down Walter. I think that's how this one went.
I didn't struggle with it too much. I didn't struggle with any of these enforcers until Ren.
Yeah, I didn't struggle with Rin because I could put my strong ass party back together. But I didn't have a good Zen. I think I only grinded him up to like 65. So he was his S breaks were doing a lot of damage, but his regular attacks were not.
But like for whatever reason, they kept going after Tita. And like as soon as she went down, like my whole plan collapsed. But eventually I got it under control. But yeah, I think I died a noticeable number of times. So then we beat up Walter. And then him and Zen are going to have their like martial arts square off at the top of the tower. But it's interrupted by the thing breaking. Also, for whatever reason, like they actually fight, right? Because like my whole screen went black for playing this, and I wonder if that's like a my computer thing or if that's a PC thing in general.
Yeah, so my computer was being weird this week too. That didn't happen, but whenever I was speeding up during battles, like during ranged attacks, the screen would shake a whole lot. It was really upsetting. And also, like, I would be running through the dungeons and people would end up getting stuck under the floor.
Yeah, anytime I'd speed up battles, it would start clipping real bad. And, like, I would basically have to save, close the game, and then start it back up and do the battle normally. Which was agonizing. But I got over it fairly quick.
I was just closing my eyes when I launched an attack because the screen shaking was so unpleasant.
Yeah, that sounds unpleasant.
But yours went away after, like, the attack?
Yeah, like, after the attack was finished, the screen would be normal.
Okay, because, like, once I hit the speed up button, it would start clipping, and even if I stopped, like, speeding up the attack, like, not clipping, that's the wrong word. It would be, like, almost stuttering. Like, the game would slow down, and then the screen would go black for a little bit, and then it'd catch back up, and it would just do that over and over again.
Yeah, but to answer your question, yes, they fight. So after the fight, Zen and Walter are having you don't do the right martial arts, blah 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 stuff that is cliche in martial arts movies. And Estelle and Joshua are like, should we like step in? And Joshua's like, no, not at all. And then you get somehow an even better than all the ones before sprite-based fight scene of them jumping all over the roof and fighting each other, and it's real good.
And then they're about to, like, unleash their full power at each other. But then Kilika shows up and is like, no, don't, actually.
Okay, so, oh, you're way ahead of me. All right, here we go. She's like, hey, don't fight. And she's like, yeah. I'm not here to do anything. I'm just here to tell my ex-boyfriend. What ex-boyfriend? That he's a wiener.
Basically, yeah.
that's literally what happened. there's some cryptic stuff about like, what were you gonna say about me? It sounds like, what were you gonna say about me, huh? No, it's not me, it's the master. What was he gonna say about me? Like, don't worry about it. And then he bounces because no questions ever get answered in these games. Not without more of them.
Yeah. It like all of the scenes this week are great and have a lot of feels, but as Bernard said earlier, they talk for a long time. What could have been an email, but that's not it. It's not like a doc against it, because like the conversations are well written and the rapport and the back and forth and how you get the new information is really good. But the summary is Kilika shows up to say her ex-boyfriend is a wiener and that their master didn't like him and stuff. And then he jumps off the tower.
Yeah. I mean, this one in particular was colored by the fact that, like, I was having technical issues basically starting with this tower. But it is really great. Like, it is, I mean, it's the Falcom banter. It's always great.
That's mad bants in these games.
Yeah, Mad Bants. Oh, I like that a lot. Mad Bants. Anyway, Walter jumps off the tower when his machine breaks. And he's like, if you want to know the reason me and the old man fought to the death, beat me and I'll tell you. And then runs away. But how do I beat you if you run away? Next time on Trails of Cold Steel. There was more chatting, and they head back to the Tetracyclic Tower. Like, look, Professor, we found another set of USB.
They were at the Tetracyclic Tower. They go to the
back to the ship. Back to the ship. Right. Like, Professor, we have more flash drives. Cool. I'll see what I can do with them. I think I can read them. Get me 2 more, and I'm sure I can.
Yeah. So then Julia pops in and is like, "Oh, up next is the Saffron Tower. There's a woman dressed in black, wielding a bell." And we're like, "Oh, it's Uciola. So Shara, you're coming with us." And I think it's funny that her physical description is described as a woman dressed in black when this anime lady does not wear clothes.
The scraps of clothes pinned to her body are black. Yeah, they literally could have just said the half-naked lady, and everyone would know who you're talking. Whatever. Anyway. Here we go.
So we're off to see the wizard. On our way there, we do get a side flash to the Gull Seaside Way outside of Minoria and Ruin, I believe, is that town? Yes, commercial city of Bose is the one with the thing. So Ruin would be the one with the drawbridge. And so we see Mother Teresa and the kids trying to make their way through with a escort, but the Metal Gear dogs are there to put a stop to that. But then in comes the cavalry, and it's the Bracer B team with Annalise and Kurt and all them. They show up to beat the shit out of the dogs and save the kiddos, and it's great, and I love it.
I love that there's another RPG party off doing shit.
Yeah,
it is pretty great.
Yeah. And shout outs to Karna because she's still really hot.
Agreed. So after that little side tangent, we get more walking and talking to keep the airship in the air. This is where I started messing back around with my quartz because I struggled that dungeon. We lower down, front of the tower. It's the same spooky door. I brought Shara and Tita and Josh and Estelle because I ran out of resources halfway through upgrading Tita. So I was like, okay, well, Estelle and Joshua got this. Also, my Shara isn't like terribly underleveled, so
Yeah, I just really love having an interruptible full party heal that also now, because it's upgraded, brings them back from KO with Chloe. It's too good. She will never leave my party just because I like grinding on some noobs to make sure she stays at 200 CP, so that if I'm ever in a scary moment and I'm looking at a whole timeline filled with enemies, I can just at any point pop her in, get a full party heal, get everybody back up and running, and I love it. Love Chloe. Never not have Chloe.
if I was good at the game, I would be going for that. But like, I think Tita is my favorite character,
She's great.
so I can't not, you know?
Yeah, I think Chloe is my favorite party member. I think Estelle is my favorite character, but I think Chloe is my favorite party member.
That's fair. Bernard, who did you bring along?
I brought along Kevin. I brought Kevin to all the towers
Oh, okay.
because I was like, I finally get to use him, and I like him. And also, he's a really great healer. And also, I found a long barrel 3, which gets his range up to the point where he can hit anyone, anywhere from his starting position.
That rules.
Yes. That sounds really cool. I should change up my party members more.
Yeah, I think that I had a really old crossbow on Kevin because I had been using Kevin and Chloe, but Kevin started doing like 1 damage to things. And so if he didn't have an S break or an art to knock off, he just sucked really bad. But Zin was the same way, and then I found a new glove for him and he started kicking ass. So I probably just need to get a new crossbow for Kevin, but he was letting me down. So I'm glad that he didn't let you down. So I know that the problem is me and not Kevin, because I like Kevin.
I also had a quartz on him to so that he would sometimes freeze enemies when he attacked them. That was real nice.
That's dope. Yeah, my Shara has one that gives them move -5 for 5 turns.
Wow.
Randomly. And so she'll just, and the way that special effect quartzes work is that applies to arts as well as crafts and attacks. So she'll just be sitting back, sitting pretty, and cast the spell at somebody across the fucking map, and then they can't move, and it's awesome, and I love it.
So this is a thing that I've noticed with this game that has changed, and I think it's changed for the worse in future games. Like, so I must have missed that tri-barrel gun at some point, because, like, there's nothing in my equipment or with my quartz that makes me, like, want to use Kevin. Mechanically. I like the character, but... And it's kind of the same with Shara. Like, my Shara's fine, and, like, my Chloe is fine. So it's just, it's interesting and kind of cool that, like, I guess if you're going for all the items, which you really shouldn't in JRPG. But anyway, the fact that like the three of us are playing the same game, the same JRPG, and have like radically different party members that aren't just that's power isn't predicated just on them being leveled up. It's just this is the items I have on them, and these are the quartz I've made and put on them. It's really cool.
Yeah, I really like the quartz system.
Yeah, there's so much room for expression there. Like, oh, I want Chloe to be a really awesome mage. So I want her to have these big blue ones because her quartz are by default blue. So I want her to have those, but like a mage with a lot of shield and HP and heal and those sorts of things that you get from the blue ones aren't that great. So it's like trying to balance, okay, well, let's give her a lot of blue so she has good blue spells, but then the other things, let's give her some mirage, let's give her those sorts of things so she'll have like stronger magic attack. And the interplay with how all of those things work dictating what spells you can do and the like statuses on your weapons and stuff. Like there's just so much working together where it's taken me a game and a half, and I played the first game twice for me to understand really and get a good grasp on it. But it's really dope and mostly invisible. It's like super complicated, but also just making sure all of the ones you have a 4 next to it is totally valid, and you can just do that.
And it also feels a little bit like by chance that it's like, obviously it's not like it's a JRPG, everything is static, but there's a level of emergence there. Like, okay, well, I missed these chests, but I got these chests, so like agate's my best, or like, you know, I ran out of making quartz here, so like, you know,
yeah,
weirdly Zane is awesome. Anyway, the tower. It is the water tower.
Mm-hmm.
This is a color I know. It's blue, unless it's green.
It's blue.
Okay, good. Because I wrote blue question mark.
There's the blue water tower and the green gross water tower.
The pond scum tower.
That's my favorite tower.
Yeah, this is the aforementioned dungeon. That's a hallway.
Yeah. Yep.
It felt like home, returning to Final Fantasy 13.
Yeah. Just big old hallways with platforms floating above some graphics.
Yeah.
Yep. You get to the end of it. There's Luciola. Joshua has to tell her that she's a wiener. I don't know where I got that from. I never say that,
but it's good.
But it's so much better than any of the other things I say.
Yeah, this scene is my favorite scene of the week. After the fight, that is, we fight Luciola, and Luciola reveals that when her quote unquote husband Harvey, the leader of the circus troupe from back in the day, he had accidentally fallen off of a cliff, but she reveals that she pushed him, calmly walked home, got back in bed, and then used her ventriloquism magic powers that she has, where she can do auditory hallucinations. She made it sound like he fell off the cliff so that everybody were like, oh, we just heard him scream and fall to his death. They run out there and he's now dead, and nobody ever thought that she had done it. And it's really cool. And
do some good murders if you have wild magic.
Yeah. And Shara obviously doesn't take it very well at all, and it's a very, very well written scene. And as seen in the host chat that I dropped earlier, this is one of like 4 CGs for just this scene this week, and all of them, Luciola looks like a big evil bitch, and it's great.
It is really great.
Scene.
I just really like how Luciola makes this big dramatic reveal and does not reveal why at all, and just leaves Shara really fucked up.
Yeah,
It's good.
it's real good.
So the smash cut after this one shoots to a dogfight with some Imperial ships and one of the...
Not when they were fighting dogs earlier. Not fighting dogs. This is a dog fight.
This is dogfight capital D, capital F, like with planes.
Yeah.
Also pertains to small ships. Whatever. Anyway, it's like Imperial's ships fighting a Gloriousling. And then we get like an army on parade scene. And we're just like, we're supposed to feel safe, but that's just for artillery pieces. That's like 20 dudes. That's not enough to fight all these robots. Come on now. And that's basically what Cassius says. He's like, random soldier who says we can't lose. Like, well, I don't know about that. They got a really big airship. It's really big. And it cuts away from him. He cuts away from Cassius while he says, please bring him up.
Yeah, he gets a phone call and is like, yes, please bring him up here. Mysterious shit keeps happening this whole chapter.
Who do you think he is?
Jesus.
I really don't know.
I have a feeling it's Richard.
Ooh.
Could be. That could work.
I'm putting money that it's Oliver.
Ooh.
Could be that too.
That's a random guess. That's not me foretelling. But he did disappear conspicuously this chapter, so maybe that's what he's doing.
Yeah.
Anyway, we go back to the air cells.
And sure enough, Julia Swartz is like, hey, now the person you're after is a little girl with a big ass anime weapon.
I'm like, we know her. That's Rena. And the only requirement for this one is Joshua and Estelle.
I brought Cheetah because I figured there would be good dialogue there. Like, there would be special dialogue for her and Tita. And there was. But goodness, my Tita is rather fragile. And Rin and her buddies hit real hard. So that was rough.
I remember now. I said earlier that I think I took Rin down like it was no problem. I actually took Rin down like it was no problem because I died 4 times and I kept making it easier and easier. So the 4th time I took her down like it was no problem. The first time I died on turn 1 because I thought it was a force loss. She was hitting me so hard.
Yeah. My first try, I died on turn 2 because she was hitting me so hard. Then I did manage to beat her on my second try, but it was rough going. I had to use a lot of celestial bombs, and it was a thrilling battle.
Yeah, they've started giving us Zerum powders, which is the stuff that they give you in the DLC for the Vita version. It's a full heal plus gives you craft points, which is ridiculous. And we started getting those now, and I'm back out of them again because I had to use them on Ren because
So to
They're
give you
real
an
hard.
example of why I'm using Agate, she only did an eighth of his hit points turn 1
Jesus Christ.
and missed entirely turn 2.
You got a good agate.
That's
He's-
to quote Bernard in the group chat the other day. I gotta level my guys.
My guys. Yes. So we get to the tower. This one is bronze.
Yes,
Okay.
it's the Earth Tower, and it's huge.
Yeah, this one is big with an H.
And like a couple of them have had like one room you'll go in there and there'll be like 50 chests. You'll just be like, I'm the richest man in the world. This one was big enough where like that happened like 2 or 3 times this time, and each time I'm like, oh, thank God, this has been hard. I'm glad there's now like a reward here. It's real big and real sprawling, and it does loop in on itself. I found at the end, like at the beginning, you can go left or right, and if you keep taking rights all the way around, you'll come back through that door on the left. So don't do that
Unless you want to get all the treasure.
unless you want to get all the treasure. If you do take, I don't know which one I took, but if you do go the way that I go, make sure you do pass up the final thing, because the chest right around is Estelle's new kick-ass weapon, because everybody got kick-ass weapons in these dungeons, and Estelle's is right around the corner. So make sure you grab that chest at the very least.
Yep. All right. So we spend our long time in there. We get to the top. There's Rena. She's still doing the creepy, evil little girl anime thing.
Mhm. And I missed it when it happened, but they talk about it happening afterwards. But at some point during this, Estelle is trying to get through to her and be like, hey, like, you're a kid, you're being brainwashed, you need to get out before you're fucked up forever. And at some point, Rin like falters for a second, and then she still kicks our ass anyways. But her faltering is probably important because they comment on it later.
Well,
Yep.
I got the impression that was sort of something only Joshua could pick up on, because how well he knows her, and he can see facial expressions while we can only see sprites.
True. Maybe so.
But she reveals that her parents abandoned her and she was horribly abused, and then the society found her and made her happy and gave her a mech.
Yeah. And gave her robot parents, because as Invader Zim shows you, all you need are robot parents. You don't need real parents.
I mean,
You can
he's
just have
also
robots.
about 200.
But then we fight Rin, and we deal with it in various ways, as we've discussed.
Yes.
Yeah. She slapped everyone else around, but like Agate was a hard point, and he could keep tossing out revives and heals and stuff for me. So it took a long time, but I got her the first go.
I did not. I think I died really hard. I did decent. Then I died really hard again, even though the third one's supposed to be easier than the second one. And then the fourth one, I was never in danger.
The fight's over. She jumps in the Char Anzabel mech. She's just as she's about to burninate Estelle, the machine breaks. As it's happened with every tower so far.
Well, we have to fight Pater
Yeah.
Mater.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This one was very easy. Thank
Yeah.
God.
Yeah, Pater Mater, the mech that's as tall as like 10 people, is pretty easy.
Yeah, it's her group of 5 random robots that she had earlier that kicked my ass. Her
Yep.
big ass mech was no problem.
Yeah.
I thought it was really cool having 2 boss fights in a row here for the finale, but that was sort of muted by the fact that the final boss of the chapter is real easy.
Yeah.
But yeah, we fight Pater Mater. The machine breaks, and
He flies off literally into the sunset.
yep, literally into the sunset. All right. So we go back to the Aerialis. A whole bunch of chitty chatting. And then Weissman, like a dick, hacks our computer.
And Professor Russell is like, I've heard of this. Hacking.
He also makes a joke about as full of yourself as a balloon. And like I laughed for a solid 5 minutes at. That's when I knew I was tired.
Yeah, right before Weissman hacks our mainframe, Professor Russell does figure out what the data crystals were saying, and the Tetracyclic towers locked the areola in another dimension, and that's what they did. And so when we walked through the purple thing, we went to that other dimension as part of it. And so it's kind of a really good place to hide a thing, is you don't have to bury it if you can just lock it in another dimension.
It's also a really cool like reversal of what's going on, because we think the barriers going down are like a good thing, right? Their plan has failed. Oh, nay. It means their plan has succeeded because they were trying to break them in the first place. But anyway, Kevin's like, Josh was like, hey, let's go to the deck. And Kevin's like, sure, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
And they look over and
Weissman is like, like a tour guide is like, on your left, you will see my world domination plans. So everyone look off the left side of the deck.
And there we see them all, the Ouroboros Enforcers, like an anti-JRPG party, staring at us from our ship.
You skipped over on the LP. There's a tiny thing that says the video of the areola. There's anime FMV of the areola, and this is the aforementioned thing that looks like the Starforge from Knights of the Old Republic, just huge, half the size of the fucking continent, floating city in the sky, gets pulled into this dimension from all the towers going down, and it's a really cool FMV and real big, real huge.
And now we're in East One. No, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said.
I said, and now we're in East One.
Yes. And it sends out that big burst of the orbital shutdown phenomenon and appears to shut down all the orbments in the fucking continent.
Yep.
That's not good.
It's not good.
It's a fucking EMP bomb thing.
Yeah. And it's at that point that we see the Organization 13 all like high-fiving and shit. And basically they say this was our plan all along.
And that's the end of the game. We lost.
We lost.
Yep.
The end. There are not 12 sequels to this game. It's over. We did it. We lost.
We're doing the Atelier series next. Tune back in for Atelier Marie. Next year on Book Club No Kiseki.
But yeah, let us listen to some more music, probably the track called The Greatest Treasure Released, and then we will talk about our memorable moments. Yeah, Bernard, did you have any memorable moments you would like to share?
Not much in particular that we didn't already discuss. I really liked this chapter. I liked the dungeons. I liked the boss fights. I did like how, we do the third tower and it's a straight line. And then as they approach the fourth tower, Estelle's like, you don't suppose this one's a straight line too? And I thought that was really funny, and like a character actually commenting on the architecture of a dungeon is interesting. I feel like that doesn't happen. It sort of feels like in most JRPGs that characters talking and the things the player does are completely divorced.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's all I have.
I had one. Where was it? Matt, did you have any more you wanted to share while I find this one?
No, a lot of I was experiencing the technical difficulties through basically the third dungeon on, and I was enough that I was still able to pick up most of the story, but a lot of my memoms from that point would be kind of moot. I do like just the amusing, like, hard pivot that the story took. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I do like the we just got Joshua back. That was like our whole point of this whole game, and we did it, and everything's happy, and now we have this touching father and son, and oh shit, he just summoned the apocalypse, and shit sucks, and we have to go and stop it.
I mean, I have a negative met mom. Those artillery pieces. Come on. I almost woke Rebecca up to complain about them. Guys.
You're a nerd.
I am, and I love it, but I hate it at the same time. It's like, why have one behind? If it gets winged and, like, you'll shoot the guy in front of you. No. This is like toddler stuff.
Yeah,
you don't have anything in front of the boomy stick that you don't want to boom at. Anyway,
so you don't point a loaded gun at the whole rest of your artillery department,
or a gun that's not loaded.
True.
If we're practicing proper gun etiquette.
Yeah, don't point a gun at anybody. Alec Baldwin.
You point them. God damn it. Yeah, but yeah. You point him at robots.
Right. So a line that jumped out at me that I loved is the so when Kevin and Joshua are like bumping elbows talking about Estelle. Estelle's like, "What are you whispering about?" And he goes, "Nothing. It's just a guy thing." And Estelle goes, "If it's something dirty, I'll show you the girl thing we do with a stick." In response, which I don't think means what either Estelle or the writer thinks it means.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Who can say which one is accidentally saying dirty things? But it tickled me pink.
I do kind of like that whole, like, guy moment there,
Mhm.
because in a series that has some questionable stuff going on, that's a relatively like that's a relatively healthy look at it,
Mhm.
if that makes sense. Like it's not well, I mean, there's gross humor in it, but like people accidentally make jokes to themselves all the time. It's
Yeah.
how I make a living. But I thought it was cute and funny and realistic, but not in a gross way, and I liked that.
Another one that I really liked was the way Shara was written in her scene with Luciola. Like, there's so many times where Luciola would be like, "I'm the villain," and Shara's like, "What? No, you can't. You're not the villain." She's like, "No, no, no. I kill people, and it makes me feel good." Yeah, but like, you're obviously kidding, and it's just the world of Shara's world being shattered and her not being able to come to terms with that. I really liked it. Broke my heart, but storytelling wise, I really liked it. Yeah, it was one of the few times that, because like Shara's only like 21. She looks like she's in her 40s because in an anime, if you're older than 18, you're an old person. But she's only like 21. She's a young kid, but she's always felt like a mom to Estelle and Joshua. And here it kind of like hammered home that like she's not really that much older than everybody else. Like she's still can get her heart broken by her mother figure, and I really liked that scene a whole lot. Anything else from anybody?
Not from me.
Dope. Uh, if you liked what you heard and you want to hear at this point in time, it's one episode early because it took us a whole month, but it's normally 2 episodes early before everybody else. You can head on over to www.rpgbook.club, where a donation of any amount will get you access to the Book Club no Kiseki episodes a month before everybody else gets them. And yeah, I think that's all I say in this one. Having 3 podcasts is hard. Don't do it. Unless you want to. It's a lot of fun. But for Book Club no Kiseki, I have been Sam Allman.
I'm David Bernard Hauk.
I'm Matt Jorgensen again.
Toodaloo, folks.
Adios, amigos.
That's the one.
On.
So my microphone is right in front of my face, which is right in the way of typing. And so it has been real hard to take notes this whole thing, just so everyone knows.